79 for 1 at the end of 10 overs. Mumbai losing the wicket of their captain, but nonetheless, they've laid a platform for what could be a big total, with maybe a tried and test or an untried and untested middle order in terms of their numbers 3 and 4. Anmolpreet Singh has joined Ishan Kishan out there. The sole wicket going to Kuldeep Yadav. That is game number 2 and the first game of the season at the Brabourne Stadium. I'm joined on Cricbuzz Comm Box by Shaun Pollock, who's been around the Mumbai setup. But Shaun, we briefly mentioned it at the start, especially numbers 3 and 4, slightly unfamiliar. So testing time for Anmolpreet and as and when Tilak Verma were to join Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be totally honest, if if this goes for another few overs whether Shaun Pollock gets a promotion. With his experience and hitability, I think there's a lot that rests on his shoulders this season. Normally he had Hardik Pandya as his partner and they could take teams down at the back end. But he's an experienced campaigner. He'll know exactly what to do. And those short boundaries, which is his strength, he's not really a mid-wicket hitter. I think that'll be big for Mumbai if he comes good. I remember also in the seasons when they used to use this ground in Brabourne Stadium in the years gone by, he had a really good record at this ground. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think they'll be happy with their start. I think it was important that Mumbai got off to that start with a partnership just to settle things down. So I think that was really good. And I think both of them played nicely. The surface looks like a nice one. And Khalil and Kuldeep were, for me, the key. I thought they're fantastic. I'm really happy for Kuldeep. He's been through a bit of a torrid time. So for him to get a new franchise and start the way he has in his first 2, he might disappear as the game goes on. But I think that's nice for him.
But yeah, how often do we say that about Kuldeep Yadav? 2 overs, 1 for 7, feeling happy for him because, Shaun, you hit the nail on the head. For Kuldeep, it's about confidence. We're expressing it here on Cricbuzz Live, but in terms of the captain, the franchise, the management around him, that's going to be really important for him going forward.
Yeah, it is huge. We were at Mumbai when he was introduced to us way back. Probably 10 years ago. I think he came through as like an under-19. And the challenge for him was always going to be the pace. He was just too slow through the air. And in the modern era, those guys, they either run down the wicket at you or they just stand and hit you from the crease. And these first 2 overs that we've seen from him have been on point. His length has been superb, but it's just a little bit quicker. And that was always the key. On slower surfaces or wickets that are gripping, maybe in a test match, you can be a bit slower. But in this shorter format, you need to be a bit quicker through the air and you need to be targeting the top of the stumps. And he will have learned. He's still young enough to have learned. And I think what I've seen so far has been really good.
Well, I can tell you it's got even better for him. Midway through your sentence, Shaun, you were talking him up, and he's picked up another wicket with that confidence that you instilled in him. Anmolpreet Singh just sort of trying to play inside out. Maybe he was targeting extra cover. He found long off, and Lalit Yadav picked up the catch. So a second wicket in his 3rd over, and I think that's really been the difference. Khalil, you briefly talked about Khalil, but between the 2 Ks, they've, I think, put the brakes on. Interesting to see before we wrap up Cricbuzz Comm Box as to who walks in to join Ishan Kishan. Probably early enough that you'll see Tilak Verma come in, but nonetheless, complete the wrap of Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah, great for him. And I think it's important also. I think Delhi have been searching for that mystery spinner, the wrist spinner. I'm trying to. Mishra was Mishi there?
Amit Mishra was.
Yeah, so they needed to replace him. He was getting a bit long in the tooth. So I think this is a good buy for them. It's so unusual to watch that Delhi bowling lineup and where's Kahisa Rabada? Where's Hendrik Nokia? As a South African, I used to follow them just to see how they went. But Nagakorti, he struggled a bit. I think maybe trying to bowl too quick rather than where you have to be on this kind of surface. But yeah, happy for Kuldeep, and I'm sure they'll finish his spell now because this could be the time where they start to pull things back, hoping that they finish well if Pollard doesn't come in.
Yeah, well, that could make a difference in terms of what the final total will be. 84 for 2 in the 11th over. Kuldeep Yadav finished with picking up his 2nd wicket, and that'll really give him confidence. It'll give Rishabh Pant confidence, and it should make for an interesting last 9 overs, which we will, of course, review in our mid-inning show. Part of a long doubleheader. For now, that's all we have on Cricbuzz Comm Box.